I wanted to be one of the first people to beat Sonic Frontiers, but I already had a vacation planned for the day after the game came out, so I extended my vacation to beat the game before my flight left. No guides to fall back on if I got stuck, just 20 years of pure Sonic gaming fundamentals. This was my experience. Being a Tuesday, November 8th release meant the earliest second that I could play Frontiers in little old Wisconsin was 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. To make sure that I would be able to play the game throughout the night, my buddy Chad hooked me up with some of the Sonic energy drinks, and I took a nice 5-hour nap at 6 p.m. on Monday night. Taylor Swift's Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights make for a great napping playlist. My vandalized sleep alarm went off, I hopped in a Discord call with my partner in Beating Games Egaz, and it was time to start our journey. And here we go. Wow, that tastes awful after brushing your teeth. After Eggman becomes a Digi-Destined and Tails crashes the tornado for the 30th time, you're immediately thrown into the action and have to find your way out of the first cyberspace level. From the get-go, I was enjoying this game because of how smooth Sonic controls. Sonic can turn on a dime while still having the speed you would expect, so that automatically makes Frontiers better than most 3D Sonic games for me. Oh, all the Sonic fans are gonna be pissed because his quills are still short. After miraculously escaping cyberspace, Sonic comes to and is immediately called by a disembodied voice that we decide to named Grandma before being let loose in the beginning areas of Kronos Island. Because I've got a plane to catch in 2 days and I have no idea how long this game is going to take to beat, I immediately cranked up Sonic's top speed and other mobility options. We're here for a fast time, not a long time. Even as the game eases you into the world while you're learning the controls, you're immediately presented with multiple paths to take and things to do. It was how I expected the entire game to feel, but after not even attempting to S-rank Cyberspace 1-2, acquiring our first Chaos Emerald, and finding Amy, the rest of the island opens up for you to explore. Dude, that loading though. Maybe don't do a sweeping shot when you can't load the whole game before you do it.
That's your computer, big dog.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a you problem.
Well, this is awkward. I soon encountered the notoriously buggy mini-boss Asura, but surprisingly I had no issues taking it down. Fighting Asura was my whole experience with Frontiers in a nutshell. A bug-free experience for me, even when sometimes others have had otherwise. After that, Sonic gets his ass handed to him by the island's titan, putting every cutscene in Sonic Forces to shame, and now you're able to explore freely for the rest of the game. No hand-holding outside of stating your objective to advance the story.
You're on your own, pal.
From here on out, the focus is on exploring the islands and advancing the story through acquiring various collectibles. There are 7 key collectibles on every island. Memory tokens are given to Sonic's friends on that island to advance the story. Portal gears unlock cyberspace levels that contain 4 vault keys each. Vault keys are used to unlock Chaos Emeralds, and skill points help you upgrade your battle skill tree. Meeting with one of the Cocoa Elders allows you to either trade Seeds of Power for offense, or Seeds of Defense for some big D. And the other Elder can be given Cocos you found in exchange for speed and max ring increases. Naturally, I cranked speed up as fast as I could. I just have to go one level at a time for this. The other guy, it was just like, he'd just dump it all on me. Oh my god, why does I have to just keep mashing it? Each item can be collected in multiple ways, making even fighting generic enemies worthwhile. Through this, Frontiers does a great job of making everything you interact with meaningful. But I didn't know this yet, so I was just running around Kronos Island as Sonic like a kid in a Chow Garden enjoying the experience. This is the kind of 3D Sonic game I've always wanted. It only took about 30 minutes of playtime before I made some meaningful progression. Amy uses a rock to project her feelings, I kidnapped children in a minefield, and we grabbed our 3rd Chaos Emerald on Kronos Island.
Oh, Sonic jamming out.
Can you get that as one of Sonic's windscreens in Smash, please? After experiencing the Circle of Life through some story beats and beating up mini-bosses like the squid, I eventually had enough portal gears to start clearing more cyberspace levels. The levels are usually only about 2 minutes long, but man, they have some of the best level design I've seen in Sonic games. Probably because most of them are copies of previous Sonic games. Like, this one is literally a 1-to-1 recreation of Skyrail from Sonic Adventure 2. That doesn't stop me from wanting to praise them though. I almost always enjoy a 3D Sonic gameplay, but the camera swapping to a 2.5D perspective for some of the faster 2D segments made me actually enjoy them being there in a 3D Sonic game for once. That accomplishment might as well be worth a Nobel Prize. And look at this, not a single classic Sonic in sight. Next, I stumbled upon Big's personal fishing dimension. I was expecting this to be required and tedious, but it's optional, and I found fishing to actually be a relaxing palate cleanser from the rest of the fast-paced gameplay. Fishing's also very handy for helping you acquire squirrels to warp around the island, and saving time on finding collectibles, but we'll talk more about that later. A few Chaos Emeralds later, alright, we've seen this enough times already. a chat with Eggman's cyber ghost girl Sage, who won't leave us alone, and now it's boss time. Actually, first I gotta figure out how to break into the Titan's home security system. This would have been hard for me even if it wasn't 2 a.m. at this point in the playthrough.
I figured out a puzzle. I never knew that.
Okay, now it's boss time. Everyone has been talking about how peak the Giganto boss fight is, and I absolutely agree. Getting to fight the first boss and every boss as Supersonic is a dream come true, and the undefeatable battle theme kicks ass. The only problem was I went into the fight with almost no rings and got washed for not parrying enough. Hold on, this will only take a second. Okay. Woo! First try. I conquered Kronos Island, clocking in at 2:30 a.m. on November 8th. With Sonic G-Fuel and the pure ecstasy of playing a new Sonic game coursing through my veins, I was wide awake and ready to keep going. The second destination on our island tour is Rhea Island. Beast got slapped over the head and lose all the Chaos Emeralds.
Probably.
Apparently.
No, that's cool. I didn't want this to be easy anyway.
Although the environments can feel pretty samey from island to island, the ways you interact with them become more varied, new enemies get thrown your way, and the way you traverse the islands becomes more difficult as the game goes on. Rhea Island is full of huge canyons that you can't just run up, so you have to start moving around the island strategically and planning your routes out as you go. Before long, I was surprised and a bit disappointed when I realized that I had already unlocked most of Sonic's combat abilities in the skill tree after being on Rhea Island for 10 minutes at most. This is the whole skill tree. I wasn't going out of my way to grind skill points either, so hopefully they flesh out the skill tree more in future games. I didn't finish the skill tree until the final island after completing most of it early on, which is quite the EXP curve. What happened? What am I doing?
Oh, you're power boosting.
Power boosting became a must-have for my pseudo speedrun because it lets Sonic permanently boost as long as he has max rings. This isn't as broken as it would have been in past Sonic games because boost no longer destroys enemies. Fantastic change, by the way. I was tired of every 3D Sonic game being a hold boost to win simulator, but it helps you get across the island way faster. This also made upgrading the max ring count for my playthrough almost pointless because it only made getting power boost more difficult, so I barely did. Surely the Starfall slot machine is a rare occurrence that won't put into my playthrough very often, right? After taking a little too long on Rhea Island, I ran into Knuckles fresh off his escapades in the Frontiers prologue.
Sonic, I know we've had our differences in the past, but I really appreciate you coming here to rescue me as soon as possible.
Of course, Knux, I got here as fast as I could. After I completed cyberspace levels, fought mini bosses, and collected Chaos Emeralds for an hour.
Wait, how do you have so many of my memory tokens?
Huh? Following our touching reunion with Knuckles, Sage sixed the world's largest missile shooting shrimp on Sonic, and then we're back to our regularly scheduled exploring. It's now about 3:30 a.m., so I took longer than I should have to solve a puzzle using this large, curiously shaped object that EGAS clarified could not be used as a butt plug. Yo!
Got a bullet.
I was thinking about a dildo or a butt plug, but...
No, you can't put that in your ass. It'll get lost. It needs to have a flared base.
Oh.
You weren't ready for the knowledge bomb today, apparently.
I was not. With the Oasis as drained as my brain cells, the next Chaos Emerald became ready to grab. On the opposite side of the island. Wait, what was the point of draining the Oasis then? What the fuck?
Kind of reminds me of where we found Babylon Garden. Yeah, I wonder what Jet's up to.
That's a reference that I have. Something extremely rare in the Sonic franchise outside the occasional
It's been generations since I seen you.
is the games connecting to one another. This completely changed in Frontiers as past Sonic games like Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Adventure 1 play a key role in the story. The callbacks to other games are really cool as a diehard Sonic fan too. You can tell that Ian Flynn, the Sonic Comics' longtime lead writer, really wanted to connect the franchise together in his first opportunity to write a story for the games. I started making progress in rapid succession. Many bosses were defeated, cyberspace levels were cleared, Chaos Emeralds were collected, and I helped some Cocos work through their Vietnam War PTSD flashbacks. Things were going great. So great that EGAS decided to take a nap at 4 a.m. to be there for the second half of the game, and my sleep-deprived brain forgot to hit record again and got no footage of me finishing Rhea Island and apparently need to be supervised at all times. Hey guys, since I don't have any footage, I thought I'd do a quick recreation of the end of Rhea Island for you. I collected more vault keys, which got me the rest of the Chaos Emeralds that I needed. I hung out with Knuckles and the Cocos more, and Knuckles decided that he wants to get off Angel Island and explore the world more. You know, good for him. Sage and Eggman had some more nice cutscenes and further deepened their father-daughter bond. Oh, thanks, dude. I'm so proud of you, sweetie. And then I went supersonic and defeated Wyvern, the Ouranos Island Titan. Hope this helps. The clock struck 6 a.m., so I cracked open what would be my second and final TVO of this all-night journey. I think the longer I'm awake, the better these are tasting. With you guys still taking a nap, I was alone with my thoughts. Those thoughts being... because I got almost nothing done for the first hour on Chaos Island besides finding Tails. It feels so good to see Tails being well written again. The island is essentially split into 2 islands, so crossing from one to the other was hard for me to figure out. This was also the first time in my playthrough that progression collectibles like memory tokens and portal gears didn't just fall into my lap for free, so I had to start using the map to plan where I was going next. Filling out the overall map by doing puzzles around the island was about the only productive thing I was doing at this point. I have no idea what I'm doing. Eventually, I got the lay of the land, took down the shinobi, and started clearing cyberspace levels. Cyberspace 3-1 is Sonic Adventure 2's White Jungle, so of course I loved it, but level 3-5 is easily my least favorite in all of Frontiers. If I wanted to drift this much, I would play Team Sonic Racing with Joy-Cons. Gaining access to cyberspace levels has been getting harder and harder to come by, so I made it a priority to clear all 4 missions to get all 4 portal keys whenever possible. By escaping Sonic's Drift Simulator, the first Chaos Emerald of the island was finally mine, and I came face to face with Knight, Chaos Island's Titan.
That thing looks like it belongs in Xenoblade.
After running away from Knight's spiky clutches, I was relieved to hear Igaz's voice return to the call.
Okay.
This island sucks.
I beat an extremely unimportant Galaga minigame, blasted open a new pathway, and grabbed another Chaos Emerald. The cyberspace level that I struggled with the most by far was 3-6. It's a copy and paste of Sonic Generations' Sky Sanctuary. Oh.
I wasn't ready.
Wow. Hour 6 has set in.
Normally I would be baby raging from the repeat screw-ups, but I was having such a good time throughout my playthrough. Plus, whenever I did screw up in Frontiers, it always felt like my fault instead of bad level design. There's not a lot of Sonic games I can say that for.
This game is so good.
It's like a lot of fun.
It's very fun.
As much of a pain as Chaos Island is to get around on, it has some of my favorite cutscenes in the game.
What is your end goal?
It varies. Sometimes it's a spinning sign, sometimes it's a big old ring.
No, I mean, what do you want to accomplish?
Oh. Gather the Chaos Emeralds and save my friends.
Frontier's story puts a heavy emphasis on cutscenes with meaningful character interactions, and not just cutscenes to advance the plot like in series past. Tails vocalizes his insecurities about being a burden to Sonic, and ultimately decides he needs to find his own path for a while once they get through their current crisis so he can learn to stand on his own. Sage is incredibly moved by this and starts to turn a corner about no longer seeing Sonic as an enemy. I could go on and on about my love for this game's story, so I'm looking forward to doing a completely story-focused video later on. Hit the subscribe button if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing in the future. Before getting to the final boss of Chaos Island, I had to overcome one of my greatest weaknesses. Oh no. Pinball. I've never been good at pinball, so I always dread the casino zones in Sonic games. I can't escape it, not even in Frontiers. This is where speedruns will come to die.
Yeah, if you suck.
Shut the fuck up, Knuckles! You have to rack up 5 million points to win, and if you lose a ball, then your score multiplier resets to 0. Thankfully, Igaz pointed out that you can just hold your flippers straight up to avoid losing a ball down the middle, but this still takes forever to finish. This is definitely one of the low points of the game for me, but I also understand the Sonic series history with pinball, and they at least try to make it as painless as possible to beat. Okay, do it.
Oh, you gotta hit it up there now.
Oh, you're right. I was just fucking through. Yeah, I would have absolutely threw that. Our joust with the Night Titan ended with us slicing it up with its own sword. How did anybody play this game and not think it was awesome? and we were ready to move on to island number 4. Coming into Rhea Island, I'm thinking I've got at least a good 6 more hours left of the game after completing the first 3 islands in about 3 hours each. It's now almost noon on Tuesday, November 8th, and including some short breaks, I've been playing for almost 12 hours straight. I was running out of steam at this point and started wondering if I was going to be able to finish the game before sleep claimed me for 5 years. Thankfully, the 4th island is much shorter, only consisting of 6 towers that Grandma tells you to deactivate by reaching the top of all 6.
Tear down the walls between dimensions.
I don't think Grandma's really here to help. These tower scaling segments are similar to the lengthy platforming segments at the end of the first 3 islands. You have to complete these segments to get the 6th Chaos Emerald before heading over to fight the island's Titan. They're all satisfyingly challenging for a franchise that usually focuses on scripted action, which is a cool change of pace. As you deactivate the 6 towers on Rhea Island, you learn that the Chaos Cocos came to Sonic's world with the Chaos Emeralds after theirs was destroyed. A planet-destroying laser, huh? That sounds familiar.
My super laser blast!
Deactivating these towers rapidly accelerates the cyber corruption of Sonic's body that he has been experiencing more and more of every time he releases one of his friends. It's just great to see my hero dealing with. He's not doing so hot. Oh, look at him, look at him.
You can fuck that.
Oh, I would have finished this island in like 20 minutes instead of 40, but my sleep-deprived brain did the first tower twice, missed the second tower, then ran all the way across the island to do that tower instead of doing the other tower that was closer to me first.
Oh, you're not going towards the other tower?
Nah, this one was closer, so.
Stray from the path.
Which one?
This one.
On the bottom left corner?
No. This
Pretty
is
sure it's the one you have marked right now.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah. That's why I told you can only mark one at a time.
I didn't even remember switching the marker, so oh well.
It's closer now?
Yeah. Look, it was a small miracle that I was still able to finish all these difficult platforming segments with how out of it I was at this point. After clearing Rhea Island, Sonic gets fully cyber corrupted, and it's revealed that Grandma, the voice that's been guiding Sonic the whole time, is the being that destroyed the ancient Coco civilization before the ancients trapped Grandma in cyberspace. She's been holding Sonic's friends captive in cyberspace so he would free her, and she's who Sage has been trying to stop Sonic from releasing. Tails, Knuckles, and Amy use the plot device of friendship to bring Sonic back so he can team up with Eggman and Sage to stop Grandma before she destroys their world. Eggman really took a backseat in this game, huh? The final island of our journey is Ouranos Island? I'm not going to pretend like I have any idea how to pronounce that. The main draw of the final island is the ruins that remain from the time of the ancients. Sage is the character you collect memory tokens for here, so the conversations mostly revolve around the ruins, and if only we had teamed up sooner, oopsie! Fortunately, the island is pretty easy to maneuver around because after playing for 14 hours, progress was becoming a mixed bag for me. I got 5 Chaos Emeralds in my first hour on the island thanks to buying vault keys from Big, but struggled to finish cyberspace levels and beat up mini-bosses. I never want to see Caterpillar ever again. Fuck. When did I lose my rings?
I hit at the beginning.
I give up. You get to go skateboarding as Sonic in one of the cyberspace levels, which I think is totally radical. After doing another absolutely very super unimportant Galaga minigame, my problem solving and motor skills had deteriorated to the level of a toddler. With a lot more memory tokens still needed and time running out, I knew there was only one thing I could do. Go fishing. You can buy everything, and I mean everything, with the points you earn at Big's fishing hole, so why bother running around Ouranos Island forever when I could get all the memory tokens I need after fishing for 10 minutes? The path of least resistance went out, and I was able to throw enough fish-smelling memory tokens at Sage to do another Galaga minigame. Okay, Sonic Team, you're making it hard to keep my obvious foreshadowing in check. We acquired the final 2 Chaos Emeralds thanks to Eggman, who finally started to contribute to the group project, and it was time to face off with Grandma. I took an always choose rock, or putting the square peg in the round hole approach to this boss fight. Whatever strategy I was supposed to use to win, I didn't do, and it still took Supreme down in my first try. That's not it, right?
You know it's gonna be a 2-phaser.
Better be. Of course there was a phase 2. Grandma left her Supreme Shell to regain its true form in outer space as the end. Sage merges with the Supreme Titan to join Supersonic in outer space to stop the planetary threat once and for all. QuickTime events have made regular appearances in the boss fights throughout Frontiers, so finishing the final battle by pressing X a few times was not unexpected, but definitely disappointing. With events successfully quick-timed, Sage sacrifices herself and shields the world from the end's finishing blow. We have trauma from Sonic characters sacrificing themselves, so unfortunately, you guys and I were prepared for this. How do you think Sage dies at the end?
She's gonna sacrifice herself
Yep.
in typical Sonic fashion.
Yeah, the non-main character always has to die, so they don't have to bring him back for another game.
Yep. Maybe this time it's different.
Nope. Sonic pulls an adventure 2 by making it home safely without his world-saving comrade to celebrate with his friends and head home. Eggman, he's aww. It's okay. He is kind of able to bring Sage back in a post-credits cutscene. After 5 islands and 14 long hours, I finally became one of the first people to beat Sonic Frontiers. Or so I thought. Ian Flynn did such a good job with the story in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the ending was kind of underwhelming with the build-up from the rest of the game, but I still really enjoyed it. What's that?
I have bad news to tell you now that you've beaten the game.
What's that?
There's a second phase on hard mode. But you technically can change difficulty at any time that you want.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, then we're gonna have to go back and do it on hard, the final boss on hard then. I ain't getting a no, not true ending. What am I even saying at this point? I had picked normal mode due to the time constraint of this playthrough, so thanks Sonic Frontiers for outing me in front of everyone. With the difficulty raised and Supreme slayed once again, it was time to go back to space to take on the secret final boss phase. What epic final phase lay in store to rival Sonic Adventure 2's Final Hazard? Really? This is the final boss? That's right, all your training has led up to this. No, not that training. The second phase of the end final battle is just a cranked up version of the Galaga Hacky minigame that I not so subtly pointed out throughout the game. This is like if the final phase of Perfect Dark Gaia was just another round of tornado defense. This better not be the only part of the boss fight. Oh, it is. Instead of me continuing to complain about how this ending falls flat on its face, here's some highlights of my suffering from trying to beat this boss for half an hour. What?
Oh, you got fucked up.
Do the whole thing over again?
I saw your mind. What courage do you have? Arrogance, ignorance, stupidity.
Stupidity?
Damn, you call me stupid. Ah, that was right up on me. Okay, I know what I'm doing better now though.
Okay, they can't hit you if you're like
matter what form I take.
shooting.
That was it.
That's so hard.
You saw the thing.
Yeah.
Bro! No!
Oh my god.
Wait, I'm alive. What?
Okay, you got one more.
Bro, this is so brutal.
Comes for you all.
You did it.
Was that really the... That's such a lame second phase.
It was important.
Can she have just monologued at me, like, in a regular fight?
I think that was cool because it made her going up there relevant.
I just think he could have done a much better boss fight than just the same shooter game that we've been playing the whole time, but harder.
You don't like bullet hells?
Not when it's my Sonic game. And she still dies. If the cutscenes don't change at all, I'm going to be so upset. Well, guess who was upset? After 5 islands, 15 long hours, and 2 final boss fights, I finally became one of the first people to beat Sonic Frontiers. I'm very much looking forward to taking a shower because I'm a stinky boy. And a nap. Would I recommend that people try to beat Sonic Frontiers in one day? Absolutely not. Would I do it again knowing what I know now? Absolutely! I was having so much fun throughout my playthrough that I would have had a hard time putting the game down if I wasn't already planning on beating it in one day. I think Sonic Frontiers might actually be my new favorite Sonic game. It says a lot that I spent the entire time editing this video saying, God, I wish that were me.
It is you.
Frontiers definitely has its flaws, but the game made a lot of changes that I've wanted for the Sonic series for a long time in both the gameplay and the story. The future looks bright for 3D Sonic if they continue to build on what they started in Frontiers. As for my trip to California, I beat the game with a day to spare, so I made my flight no problem. With San Francisco within driving distance of where I was staying, you already know I had to do a city escape.